So the S10 Plus has been one of the best smartphones of this year, and it has possibly everything you'd want on a flagship smartphone. Well, obviously it's not perfect because it depends on people and their preference, but I do love the S10 Plus very much, and one of the main reasons for it is its camera. So the S10 Plus has a triple camera setup on the back, a main 12 megapixel wide sensor, a 12 megapixel telephoto lens and a 16 megapixel ultra wide lens. The main sensor has that variable aperture which was first introduced in the S9s that can change between f1.5 and f2.4. Well, this is mostly for the night shots. The bigger the aperture helps for better low light performance, but low light performance is not exactly the stronghold of the S10 Plus. Here, take a look at this picture. This is a picture of one of the temples at Basantapur and it's shot around 7 p.m. and the image looks okay, it's not bad. Still, you can notice lots of noise and grains in the picture, and also it looks slightly blurred as it does lose out on quite a lot of details. But it's an improvement from the latter S9s. However, if you compare it side by side the P30 Pro, then it's simply the second best. The P30 Pro takes a far better picture, and that will stand true even with the ultra wide sensor. Here, it's the same image of the thing, but this time I took it with the ultra wide sensor, and yes, it is worse than what we had with the main sensor. And if we compare it with the one taken with the P30 Pro, then it's really a no-brainer on which one's good. But it's not always bad. Here, this image taken at Basantapur, I actually like this image. Even if I compare it against the P30 Pro's night mode, obviously P30 Pro's night mode will win, but side by side the S10 Plus is not so far behind. Similarly to this next one, the S10 Plus is doing very good here given it does not have dedicated night mode like the P30 Pro. Side by side the P30 Pro, obviously P30 Pro is better and brighter, but S10 Plus is not that far behind, it's good as well. Now let's turn our heads to some outdoor shots under sunlight. So something that has really improved with the S10 Plus is the HDR. It's better than before, and I love taking outdoor shots with the S10 Plus. Here, take a look at this image of Bath Vadani. It came off really good. The picture is balanced and nicely exposed. The colors are of course slightly more contrasty, but overall it's a darn good picture. Now let's take the same picture with the wide angle sensor and boom. I love the wide angle of the S10 Plus. We do get that distortion on the edges though, but the dynamic range and everything else is really good. Now next up is the image of this mandir near my mamagar. The details of this image looks very good. The details on the background, the sky, the grass, overall it's really good. The texture on the temple and especially those details on the mirror, it's absolutely beautiful. Now same image with the wide lens, yeah, it looks beautiful, but the picture is now slightly darker compared to the image from the main sensor. But the image turned out really nice. I think the wide angle on the S10 Plus is the best so far this year on any smartphone. Now next up is the landscape of Patan Darbar Square. The dynamic range on this picture is really good. Look at all those details on the sky, the buildings and everything else. The exposure is balanced as well and the colors are popping more. It's not natural, but it's a gorgeous picture. Now same image with the wide angle sensor. Well, I just love how the S10 Plus captured this image. The details are absolutely beautiful and the wide angle sensor is sensational for these kind of landscapes. However, as I've said earlier, the image does turn out slightly darker. Similarly, I love this next wide angle shot of the Patan Museum. It just came out so crisp. The texture, the exposure, and on overall, everything feels really good. I just love the wide angle on the S10 Plus. So up next is the portrait photo mode. So portrait is something I don't really use much, so I have just one sample to show. And if we talk about the edge detection and blur of this portrait image, then it's good. But if you compare the same image with a normal image, then you can see that the portrait image comes out darker, and I really didn't like that fact. So yeah, that's that for the portrait mode. Next up, let's see some selfies now. So front camera is something I don't usually use, but I've been very impressed with the S10 Plus during these 2 months. Especially, I've been impressed with the HDR on the front camera as well, and the rear camera too. The details are really good, and even the details on the background is nice. Usually I would get blown out highlights, but the S10 Plus manages good selfies every time. Not just pictures, but the videos from the front camera come off really crisp on the S10 Plus. You can capture up to 4K with this thing, and the video are absolute best from the S10 Plus front camera. Better than some rear cameras on the smartphone. Well, the videos from the rear camera is good as well. It can do 4K 60 FPS and there's stabilization also. The Super Steady kicks in at 1080p and the stabilization is super good. At 4K there is no Super Steady, but the stabilization on 4K is good as well. I like it. But most of all, the HDR capability of the S10 Plus is what I really like even in the videos. Sometimes we would even use the S10 Plus footages for car reviews. Just hook it up to the Osmo Mobile and it's just so easy to get crisp videos at 4K. So to summarize my experience with the S10 Plus, after 2 months of uses, I like the camera of the S10 Plus a lot, especially the videos from front and rear camera. You could even do high quality vlogs with this thing. Just get a Osmo Mobile or any other mobile stabilizer and get started. It's just super easy. And as for the front camera, what they could have improved is get a wide angle selfie on the front camera. Well, there is an option for wide angle selfie, but it's not that wide. And as for the rear camera, what they lack is a proper night mode. And obviously it cannot beat out the P30 Pro when it comes to the zoom capability or the night mode capability. But beside that, the S10 Plus camera is really good. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you like it, and as always, like if you like it, subscribe to the channel for further contents like this. Also hit that bell icon to get notifications. Until next time, namaste.